Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Welcome to our first impression and maiden flight of the Silverlit Sky Eagle 3-channel helicopter. You can pick these things up a lot of different places online. Right now, it's on sale for 55 bucks on sale at the source. They're regular 100 bucks. I think 55 was actually a really good price. The 100 is a little on the steep side, in my opinion. It is a 3-channel heli after all. Now, it is marketed as an indoor-outdoor heli, which we're going to find out. Okay, we haven't flown this yet. I've charged it. It's ready to go. So let's talk a little bit about what comes in the box. Of course, you do get a manual for this thing. It tells you about some basics, how to charge it, some basic flight instructions that they go through in here. This is my first time opening it, but there you go. So you've got some basic flight instructions, and they talk about the remote, the controls, that sort of stuff. Now, the charger for this thing is an AC/DC charger. Just plugs right in underneath the helicopter, like so. There's a little port by the on and off switch. Away you go. Plug her in the wall. Approximately 40 minutes. The batteries do always come with a bit of charge in them from the factory. That's normal. Charge it first. Don't fly it and then charge it. Charge it up first. And each time you fly it, cycle it down till the blades stop moving. And the LEDs should still be lit. And that's how I do it with all my single cell helicopters. And even ones that use 2 cells. I just run them until they go down and stop on their own. And then this way you get the most charge cycles. You do get a package of an extra 4 blades, tail blade, and some connecting buckles. So you'll have 2 spares for the connecting buckles. It's nice they give you 4 blades. A lot of companies only give you an A and a B. Of course, you do get your helicopter. This is on the 27 megahertz band, by the way. This is not 2.4 gigahertz. As far as range goes, I think they say it's about like 40 meters, 50 meters, somewhere around there. Like I said, I've just unpackaged this thing myself, so I really haven't gone that far into it. 25 meters. So 25 meters, that's about 70, 80 feet. That sounds about reasonable for something like this. So yeah, you got to pull up your antenna. You do have a high and low speed switch for your forward and backward movement, of course. Trim control is up on the side. It's a little dial here. You do have an ABC switch on this thing, which is, so if you've got a couple of these the same, this is 27 megahertz. There's enough of a spread, I guess, with the frequency that you can go A, B, and C without knocking each other off. Because generally, if you have 2 on the exact same precise frequency, one radio can actually control 2 machines. I've done that once with an Estes WB2012. It was actually pretty cool. Anyway, so you got your ABC. Your throttle is spring-loaded on this thing. So if in a panic, it's kind of handy having a spring-loaded throttle for beginners because you guys are going to panic, let go, and it's like, oh good, the helicopter just drops, hits the ground, you're okay. And it's helped save on a lot of damage, right? Whereas if you had a helicopter, you're a beginner, and it stays in one spot when you let go. If you are about to crash, you may not think to shut the throttle off to save damage. So it is good for a beginner. For a more seasoned pilot like myself, I could care less about the spring, but it's there, right? You got your basics. So you got your basic up and down, forward, backward, left, and right. This I thought at first, when I first took it out of the box, may have been a bay for a charge wire because it's got that little cutout notch, right? I'm looking at this thing and it's like, okay, but it doesn't undo. It's got the same cutouts here, but it doesn't seem to want to open, so hey, whatever. On and off for the lights. So, as far as the helicopter goes and taking just a brief look over at it, it does have a lot of metal on it, which is good. A lot of these helis, of course, do. Of course, they do have their share of plastic as well, and that's fine. It's to be expected. Balance bar on this is actually in a good spot. It's going to help the chances of blade slap from happening. It's going to prevent that a lot because the balance bar, or fly bar, as a lot of people call them, is underneath the top of the blades. Usually they're on the top, and this is underneath the top blade, so it's actually going to provide less chance, I would think, of crashing, but we'll try it out and see if we can make it do anything. Now today's flight is going to be an indoor flight only because it's about a 30-kilometer-an-hour wind out there, and if you know or understand coaxial helicopters, they're useless in the wind. Okay, anything usually past about 9 clicks, and that's for something that's, you know, over 20 inches in size. This, yes, it is stated for indoor outdoor. No wind is preferable. Large gymnasiums for indoors, or even in a room this size is not too bad. But outdoor wise, it has to be an extremely low wind, okay, to no wind at all. Otherwise, good luck moving anywhere. But we're going to see how this thing does indoors, and that'll give us a ballpark idea of how it's going to do outdoors as well. So I say, enough talking, and let's fire this little puppy up and get her up in the air. So turn your radio on, throttle up, throttle down, turn on the power. Now it does have flashy lights front and rear, and that little light switch, you can just press it. And I guess we have to wait till we power up first. Oh, nope, they went off. There we go. Just press and hold and it shuts them off. Back on. There we go. Now the trim control, if you notice how it kind of spins, that's where you need to adjust the trim. So I'm not even touching the control, it's got to spin. So we just adjust that so it looks like it's pretty much going to stop. And we take off, let it hover. So just hovering it by holding my thumb there, it is pretty stable, it does hover really well. Now I'm in the fast mode right now, so we're going to see how fast this thing can go forward. There's full forward, full reverse. Now this is digital control, and right now I'm turning it using the stick. So slow movement, slow response. Let's put it into the slow forward and slow reverse. Just flick the switch while you're flying. Now let's try slow forward now. Back to fast. So I'm going forward and turning at the same time. Okay, so based on how this thing's flying, it is very stable, hovers really well, shoots a lot of wind, knocks everything off your table. On the fast speed for forward and reverse, which is where we started, indoors, not bad. Outdoors, I'm really not thinking it's going to do so hot. But we're going to still try, you know, we got to give it a fair shake for outdoors. But I think where the problem is going to be for a lot of that, it's going to be right here in the tail blade. And I've got some other tail blades I'm actually going to try out and see if they're going to work with this thing or not. If I got one that's the right pitch. And see if maybe I can burst a little extra speed out. I've always had a problem with these, what I like to call canoe paddle tail blades. The STWE 2012 actually comes with the same style of a back tail blade, and they're really lousy for outdoors. And so I'd gone up to a larger scale blade, different pitch, not quite so steep, and more squared out from an SO33 heli, and that worked like even up to 22 kilometers an hour without any hassles. So I'm thinking I may have to do a similar thing here and see if I got any blades that'll work. But for being the fast moving pace, it's really not that fast. I thought it would be a little quicker. Obviously it's not. But it does control really well. It does hover well. Battery life, you're supposed to get about 8 minutes of runtime with this thing. I looked at a few of the brief specs, you know. The 25 meter range thing, I can see that. It is 27 megahertz. It's not 2.4 gigahertz technology we're dealing with. You know, but it's also the size too. 25 meters, you know, you're talking over 70 feet. That's going to start getting smaller and smaller as you're flying. So, you know, you don't want to get too far away anyhow. But we are going to do an actual range test to see how far it'll go before it'll start stuttering and stuff outside. My yard from one end to the other that I can access is probably somewhere around the 220 foot range in a full length. And I'm a little over, I think about almost 100 feet deep. So we'll see what kind of range we get when we can take it outdoors. Just not today because it is really super windy out there, and I already know there's no way this bird's going to stay up in the air with that kind of wind, so we'll do that on another day. But at the same time, when we do the outdoor footage, we'll see how it does. Then I'll give you my final rating on this thing. It won't be today. I'll give you my final thoughts. But so far what I can tell you, for 55 bucks, it is a good buy, especially for flying indoors. It is a good, like the controls work really well. They respond well to small little movements, larger movements. They do respond well. It flies well, so there's no real complaints there. I'm not looking at the cool factor thing for LEDs. I mean, that it's got it. It's, you know, at least it's got some LEDs. It's kind of cool, right? Design factor or style. I like the style of this thing. And I like the fact it's got a nice large style canopy on it. It looks more like a helicopter when it's got a larger canopy. The ease of using the charger is nice. It's just a straight plug-in. It is a single cell LiPo, which is replaceable. Apparently Silverlit does have parts for their machines. I don't know how much parts in total. I'd have to check their website, you know, to see what they're like. But I know when they first come out, they didn't have much for parts for their machines, but I did talk to them and they said they would be adding more and more parts to their line of machines, so that's good. So far so good. Let me know what you guys think so far, but I mean, this is a beginner grade helicopter, you know, unless of course you're an advanced pilot that still likes to play around with coaxials. I still like them here and there, so what the heck. So anyways, meantime, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video, guys.